some more lighthearted news. We got Shaquille O'Neal, who is contributing or investing in a scholar program that seeks to provide individuals with the opportunity to earn a modicum of a higher education completely debt free. So, this is something that came across my radar not too long ago. This says Shaquille O'Neal backs debt free degrees for the next generation through campus's new scholars program. Shaquille O'Neal is backing a scholarship to support the next generation of creators and entrepreneurs. As Afrotech previously reported, O'Neal is an investor in Campus, a 2 year accredited school with part time instructors from top universities. It was founded by Tad or Orinde, I hope I'm saying that right, but I'm probably not, to ensure students receive a debt free education. We did not want to add $1 to the pile of student loan debt in this country. That's super key for me, Orinde said on the Black Tech Green Money podcast. Orinde has raised millions for the education venture, and O'Neal is one of its investors, in addition to OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and Discord founder Jason Citron. Now, O'Neal is strengthening his commitment to the student population through his involvement with the Campus Merit Scholars Program. A press release states that students selected as Shaq Scholars will be eligible for a full tuition scholarship to pursue an associate degree in business administration or information technology. Participants will also receive a laptop, Wi Fi, and 2 years of instruction from professors with tenure at institutions such as Stanford University, Princeton University, Howard University, and others. Additionally, students will receive mentorship from Silicon Valley leaders and personal coaching. Ideal candidates are students building a business, developing a creative brand, or offering solutions to improve their communities. I've always believed in hard work, grit, and surrounding yourself with the right people, O'Neal explained in a press release. This is about building confidence, creating opportunity, and helping students turn potential into power. I can't wait to meet this year's class of scholars. Orinde added, maximizing access to world class education has always been the name of the game. It's obviously super exciting that legends like Shaq are contributing to that. So, there you go. Debt free. Looks like it's like some kind of a 2 year program. Shaq is an investor. So, what do you make about this development with Shaq investing in this venture?
Shout out to Shaq, I guess, with this. Now, this is, speaking on the last topic, if these guys so happen to make millions of dollars and then they wanted to individually turn around, which a lot of them do, and put money towards a cause they believe in, I have no problems with that, you know. And so, Shaq, who's got, a lot of investments uh while he was well, I don't know while he was playing, but I know for sure he had a lot of sponsorships while he was playing, a lot of sponsorships after. And he's also a bit of a businessman. So for him to use his capital to invest in making sure that, these youngins get an education without a debt on the surface sounds great to me. But of course, I'm a cynical man and I always wear my conspiracy caps. The tinfoil variety, if you wanted to be specific. And the article sounds like a good puff piece PR situation where this is just another Shaq endorsement, if you ask me. He's the face of this endeavor where they are investing in the next wave of people who are going to contribute. But once they said that, uh, also there's other investors that are part of OpenAI and some of the first of all, OpenAI. Now I thought Google was Skynet. OpenAI is probably like another branch of Skynet. Um, so hearing their name on something and them putting themselves behind something, I'm going to be a little skeptical of that. And um, so it makes sense that OpenAI and these other places are looking to, because they also said that these people are going to get mentored by them and all these other things. So they're not just giving them a free education and letting them run away. This is kind of This is a build up situation. This is it eventually turned into an internship and eventually employment. So they're investing in the next um, wave of people that's going to be able to contribute to Skynet. And so they want to see people that already are taking initiatives, that are air quote giving back to their community and doing other things, because they don't just want some slouch to get a free education. They want somebody that actually moves, kind of like a 360 deal these rappers do. You know, if you're already rapping, already got a fan base and stuff like that, that's easy for me to invest in. You're already taking the initiative. If I put money behind you, you're really gonna make things jump. And so same thing going here with this scholarship or whatever this thing is here, program or what have you. So all in all, it sounds great. But to me, I think this is just which they have every right to, is to funnel everybody into their business. And I think Shaq is, he's good PR, you know, and this has definitely scratched the surface of the African American population once they find out that Big Shaq Diesel is helping people get free education. So it'll also spark those minds in that community as well. But overall, I'm not opposed to young people getting a free education. I just hope that it's not going towards Skynet duties. But what are your thoughts, man, on Shaq Diesel running around here, being a part and investing in the future so these kids can have a debt-free education?
Yeah, I can't. I'm not going to be as cynical as you because I don't know the flow of the money. I can't speculate on that. So I'll let you have that. Um, I just think on the surface, I like it because you know, yes, it funnels. It appears to be a mechanism that is going to serve to funnel young, bright minds into future employment situations.
Hmm.
But such is life in westernized society. 10% of the population is self-employed or unemployed. The rest of the 90% of us are employed in some capacity. So if there are 90% of us who are employed in some capacity, um, I can I can take solace in knowing that there's going to be a decent chunk of them who will have the opportunity to at least be gainfully employed. Now, this is not JV wins in defense of employment. Don't get it
Are you
twisted.
sure about that?
I'm pretty I'm pretty sure about that. This is not JV wins in defense of employment because I do think that the modern day workforce is a funnel system for the slavery system that is employment. I do believe that. But within that context, being in a position of gainful is something totally different than being in a position to live paycheck to paycheck middle class, not being able to actually live any sort of meaningful life in any kind of way because you're always scrounging looking for the next opportunity to get a check so that you can get by. Um, uh, One of the ways that prohibits people from being able to, at the very least, financially self actualize is financial debt. Speaking as an individual who is currently in the midst of dealing with financial debt stemming from trying to pursue a collegiate education, it is an albatross that hangs around your neck into perpetuity until you can figure out creative ways to get yourself from up under it. So I am very much in favor of individuals who can be put into a position to at least not have to deal with that aspect of adult stress. I'm just going to say, given my personal experience, I'm not opposed to that. Um, Also, additionally, you know, I am a firm believer that the world is moving in a particular direction. And I think if you are not earning a living doing things in what I call market proof industries, things in which, when I say market proof, I'm talking about, well, let me back up. There's two types of market proof industries. There are traditional market proof industries, and then there are market proof industries that are dictated upon the way that the world is moving into the future with how things are going. You have to be in one of those two areas in order to sustain yourself in the future, in my opinion. And you can only sustain yourself in traditional market proof industries if you are doing something that that will always be in demand no matter which direction the world moves in. So for example, I'll give you one example of what I believe is a market proof traditional industry, which is real estate. I think no matter where we go with AI, no matter where we go with technology, no matter where we go with the eradication of labor, you're still going. People are still going to need places to live. People are still going to want to buy houses. People are still going to want to invest in commercial properties to run businesses. I feel like that's not going to go anywhere. So if you can gain an expertise in that particular skill, you will have something that the future world will need, albeit it being something that has been around for a very long time. And if it's not something like that, you better be involved in something that's future proof. And I do believe applied sciences, information technology, STEM sciences are future proof because the world is headed in that direction. So if these scholarship programs result in being able to find constructive ways to funnel people into those areas so that they can at least not be beholden to a paycheck to paycheck existence, I can take a small victory lap in that. But aside from that, I hear everything that you're saying. There's always going to be a caveat. I don't know the extent to which OpenAI and these various sponsors have a hand in influencing the direction of the individuals who try to take advantage of these programs. I'm pretty sure to a certain extent there's an aspect of that that's taking place. I'm just looking at the bottom line of the wealth gap and my desire to see the stemming of that to a certain degree because right now it's out of control. Right now what we're looking at right now is a situation in which you are really going. I mentioned Judge Dredd before, and I say that because I mean it. We're looking at a Dawn of the Dead, Judge Dredd type situation where you're going to have 80% of the population who didn't try to capitalize on future proof markets to survive, sitting on the outskirts of society, barely making it. And you're going to have 20% of the population who, either because they had insider information or they had an enroll to be able to capitalize on these things, be on the cutting edge of being able to take advantage of the direction or the wave that the world is moving in. And you're going to have 20% of the population looking down on the 80% of the rest of us who are fighting for the scraps in the cursed wasteland. And so I think if there are programs like this who can even out that split, or at the very least curve it a little bit so that it's not 80-20, maybe it's, 75-25, 70-30, 65-35. I can accept that despite my misgivings with employment in general. But something's got to give with these world markets and these world economies. um you know the chasm is getting greater by the day, and there's just going to be a whole lot of people out here who wake up one day and realize that their $80,000 a year income is the new poor, and they're going to be looking around wondering what the hell happened to them. And the individuals who are able to see the forest from the trees and know what was coming are going to be in the ivory tower looking down on the rest of us saying, we got y'all and now we're going to continue to make money off of you. So if this program can have more people who are in that ivory tower than not, I say kudos, even though there's probably going to be some BS that goes on because there's always some BS that goes on. I've let that go. I'm not going to be able to stop that. Just like you said in the previous topic, there's always like with the OF stuff and all of this kind of stuff, it will continue, and all you can do is just offer up words of wisdom from time to time to say, hey, there's another way. All I can do is say, hey man, there's another way. But corporatocracy is always going to do what it does. Corporations are always going to do what they do. It is what it is. I'm exhausted at this point from railing against that because it's not going to stop. But give people a bigger paycheck, give people a bigger payday, give them at least the chance to not languish in the cursed earth 50 to 100 years from now. And I'll take that as a small victory lap.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that, man. And also, man, with the point, your point with the Judge Dredd, Mad Maxian future that's ahead of us is being driven by companies like OpenAI. And that's also my point. that it's not going to, they're the people that are going to be benefactors of this are most likely going to be absorbed by them because of the mentorship and all of the stuff that they mentioned. These are code words, dog whistles, as some may say, for the people that are going to be a part of this program will be ultimately absorbed into these things because, well, we're literally paying for your education. And once that happens, these people will be on the side of Skynet, and these people won't be a part of the general population. This would be a part of the population that's getting paid by the entities that want to see this type of future, because nobody's asking for this besides them. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted any of this stuff that's being introduced to us. But here it is, version, 5, version 6, version 7. They're going to keep coming out with these things, and they're going to keep being more and more aggressive with automating everything that stuff people are not asking for. So, and that's the reason why, because my antennas go up, man. Whenever I hear certain things, I could be very wrong. Uh, I'm generally not. Okay, but I could be very wrong. I could be very wrong, man, with this. But um, my ears always perk up when I hear certain buzzwords or certain companies or whatever, because at this point it's okay. Well, what is this about? You know, because I don't know if you've watched Futurama, man, but they had a little character on there. It was like a robot devil or whatever. Funny character, man. But it was the robot devil, man. You just couldn't trust him. And so whatever he said or whatever, he was going to turn on you somehow, some way, and then get a good laugh at it on the back end. And so whenever certain corporations that have this label from me, and they do certain things publicly, or they say certain things publicly, which is good for their PR. I mean, why wouldn't they do that? Then of course, but then I always look on the back end of what do y'all benefit from this story from? And that's where my mind's eye came from when I was saying all these things. And then from all of this, how does Shaq fit into this? Well, Shaq could do anything. He's got like icy hot other things going on. Like Shaq could do any goddamn thing for a check.
Yeah,
So
it's less about Shaq and it's more about the program
yeah,
because he's just another millionaire investor. Like he's
well, that's
just
what that's what I'm saying. Why? You know, my thing is why, and so because it's from the kindness of his heart. Yeah, right. My thing, it's not. And so, what's the why behind this? And that's when I get to thinking and theorizing. So I could be very wrong. All right. Some people or corporations may actually do something from the kindness of their heart. Me personally, I don't think that's always true. So I'm hoping for the best, and for the people that do get that money and those jobs. First of all, get in the program or get whatever this thing is. Get a good paying job. Uh, Wishing the best for those people, and hopefully you take care of yours, man. When Mad Max hits your streets.
I think the difference between you and me is I don't care about whether corporations do anything out of the goodness of their heart. I don't care. The only thing I care about is does this give Tyrone the opportunity to gain an education that allows him to make 6 figures a year. That's what I'm thinking about is the yield giving Tyrone or Jimmy or John, someone who otherwise wouldn't have had the opportunity to do that, the chance to make 6 figures a year doing something that isn't going to mandate that 15 to 20 years from now, what they do in the world is obsolete and therefore they're no longer required. Now, for all I know, that can still happen. I don't know. This stuff, as you said, is happening very aggressively. So, from one year to the next, seemingly things are so radically different. You can't really predict how different things are going to be. So, I don't know the degree to which things will be different 15 to 20 years from now. But all that being said, if the yield is giving people who otherwise wouldn't have had the chance to do so the opportunity to just make the money, I'm looking at this, bro, from a very bare bones perspective because I hear where you're coming from and I don't disagree with you, but I think in order to have the chance to not be victimized by this Mad Maxian future, the first step is to not be beholden to the economics of it. And the consumers amongst us, the ones who spend money for a living, the ones who have to work for a living and then spend money in order to stay alive, essentially, that's cattle fodder for everybody else. That's cattle fodder for said Mad Maxian future. So
Mhm.
if you can remove yourself from that ecosystem, you stand a better chance of being absolved from being victimized by it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
that's kind of why I look at it from the standpoint of what's the yield. If the yield is give people more chances to be put in that position, then I'm going to say hopefully it works out. But in terms of whether the origins of it are benevolent in any kind of way, I don't even care. As a matter of fact, my assumption is that there's going to be some sort of a kickback or some sort of an advantage that goes back to the individuals or the entities that put resources into the actualization of the program. So I'm operating under a default assumption that that's going to take place. I just don't care because I know that I don't maintain the expectation that they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart. I never cared about that. My I just want to see more people than not be able to live in the 80-foot tower or the 80,000 skyscraper tower, and less people who are having to scrape by in the cursed earth, because I do foresee a future in which there is going to be a cursed earth, and it, literally speaking, is it going to be exactly the way it's depicted in stuff like Judge Dredd? Perhaps not. But whatever the cursed earth of the real world future looks like 15, 20, 100 years from now, it will be here. And there are going to be individuals who are going to have to navigate that terrain. And you do want to position yourself now so that both yourself and future generations in your bloodline don't have to navigate that terrain.
Yeah, and last thing I said, I hear you, man. And the reason why I care is that if these people that do get a part of this end up doing it for not the right reasons, then it drives. They're putting the best and the brightest in the hands of Skynet, which then drives the future to come faster or to actually come. And so instead of taking those best and brightest to do something that is more where man and AI can live in conjunction. It's more of a situation where it's driving this authoritarian weird future down the line if they keep absorbing the best and brightest through programs like this. So me caring whether they care or not, me caring whether they are looking out for the best interests of humanity matters to me, because if they succeed in getting the best and brightest, then it drives their agenda and their future, and which is not in the minds, and so that's the reason why I care. But I hear what you mean in principle, in the sense that, hey, at least some people ain't on the streets, at least these people want to have a job. That's what I care about, and that's cool. And I'm just telling you, the reason why I care is that those people have a job and have a nice house, but at the expense of 10,000 more people for that one person that got that education, I'm not here for it. And that's the reason
Yeah,
why.
well, we'll have to see how the numbers shake out. However, the numbers shake out is how the numbers will shake out in terms of the way that it funnels people into the right corridors. There was also, like, again, it just all depends. Like, if some people gain the education, but then go and open up their own businesses or open their own startups or figure something else out to, seed and make and give other people's opportunity, it can go into a wealth of different directions.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
we just don't know how it's going to pan out. I think it can go either way. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I think the you've mentioned something you mentioned something before where you've said begrudgingly, if you want to be on the other side of this thing, you're going to have to figure out
You
how
have to
to
figure
be
something out.
someone that they need to like service the AIs and all of that kind of stuff. So, whether we like it or not, the stuff is coming. So it's one of those situations where, yeah, ideally I do want it to be a situation in which it isn't fulfilling an agenda. But that's where my cynicism comes into play, because I just think it automatically by default. Because when you say, it's a difference in perspective. When you say, you know, are they going to utilize these skill sets or this knowledge to do good things for mankind? OpenAI and Discord, they believe that what they're doing is for the good of mankind.
Of course.
So we're saying the same thing, but we have different definitions of. No. I'm
I
saying
know.
like your school of thought and their school of thought. You guys are using the same language, ironically. But despite the fact that you're using the same language, you're literally saying two completely different things. And these individuals believe that what they're doing is for the good of the world. It's like what I said last week about the whole putting the weird themes into the children's movies. My perspective on that being something inappropriate for children's movies is irrelevant. They're going
Mhm.
to keep doing it anyway because they believe that by infusing these themes into children's movies, they're doing the right thing for humanity. And that's the crazy part. So, we'll have to see how it works out, but I'm telling you right now, they think they're doing good.
Yeah, yeah, which is also I hear what you're saying, man. But they know that their good is opposite of my good. And they don't, and they don't give a
Yeah,
damn.
they say you're being regressive.
Which is fine. But hey man, but more power to all of these people, man. Do what y'all do. Um, you know, you know, make the best of life, man. I'll tell you that. Regardless of whatever's coming down the line with these AI models or whatever. So yeah, take advantage of these things and try to save your own. I say that.
Yeah, that's a good way to leave it because it's gonna
Hmm.
happen. It's gonna happen regardless.
Hmm.